Hi, good evening. Austin Mayor Steve Adler. Got a minute. We're going to go over the COVID numbers tonight and then have some big news about got a minute. We'll touch base on vaccines briefly in the city council meeting that just ended. But let's begin with the virus numbers as we have been doing here on got a minute since April of last year. But going at this for a full year. And I appreciate the time that you have spent listening to this. A little bit different situation now than what we were in when we started doing this, trying to bring news to people so you could keep track of the numbers. They were changing. There was anxiousness all the time, not so much now. Always begin with the cases that we admissions that we keyed off of. We're at 18 right now. That gives us a 7-day moving average of 18. That's the same number that we had yesterday. So we've kind of leveled off here at the 18 numbers you can see in the color chart. We're trying to drive this down to 10 so that we can move into the blue area. The number on this page, new cases, 107. That's a better number to see than the one we had yesterday, which was 174 new cases. 107 is better than that. 107 is below our 7-day moving average of 130. Yesterday's 174, considerably higher. But what we're finding is that new cases don't translate the same way into new hospitalizations, and hospitalizations don't translate into ICUs the same way that they did before. ICUs don't translate into ventilators the way that they did before. The length of time in the hospital when someone goes to the hospital is less than it was before. The mortality rate continues to go down pretty substantially. Does not mean we're out of the virus, out of the woods yet. Let's still be careful. Let's still drive these numbers down. We don't want to give the virus a chance to spring up again, which is what is happening in Michigan. If that happens, it puts the whole community at a higher risk for the variants, which we don't want to do. We are so close right now. We have to maintain some measure of caution and discipline so that we can hold on to where we are. Let's take a look at the second dashboard. You can see the number of folks hospitalized is at 134. The 7-day moving average is 134. So we're right on top of the 7-day moving average. ICU census tonight, 41. That's below the 7-day moving average of 46, so it's moving down. Ventilators at 20, 7-day moving average, 21, so it's moving down. Basically flat, but moving down. Number of people who have passed away, 823. I told you some time ago that my keenest desire was to keep that number stopped and certainly less than 1,000. And it looks like that's going to be real achievable. We ought to set a goal lower than 1,000. 823 is the same number we've had since last Thursday. So the mortality rate in our city is decreasing as more and more people get vaccinated. And as people have gotten used, I guess, to the discipline and to the routine. Let's take a look at the University of Texas modeling that tells us where we anticipate being as the numbers are going down. This is Dr. Byers, who was just incredible assistance to us last spring. They were looking at the models. That's how we set up that color chart. That color chart held us in really good stead. It enabled us to be able to take the steps that we needed to alert the community when we needed to alert the community, keep our mortality rate low. And again, Austin's mortality rate less than half of the state average, less than half of most all the big cities in Texas. Low number, and we're real fortunate to see that. But anyhow, here is the state modeling, and you can see that the R factor now at 0.83 kind of flat where it has been. Chances the epidemic is growing, 11%, so not very high. 14-day change over the last 14 days, 8% fewer infections. So not a big change, but the numbers are down. Here's the map. These green dots, as we all know, are the actual numbers. And then we get to April 9th, which was the day that this last modeling was done. In order for us to get below, you can see we're about 2018. That's where we are today. And then the computer predicts that over time, if we stay where we are, here's April 11th at 18, and that's where we are today at 18. April 13th, they're predicting 18 again, so predicting it to be pretty flat, but it'll start going down a little bit, and you can see that we cross over into 10 right at the end of the month. In fact, I think April 30th is the last day. We're at 10. And then it drops down. May 1st goes up to 11, back to 10, and gets to 9 in the end of the first week in May. And I hope that happens. I hope we get down in blue, be even more and more freedoms and relaxation because the infectivity rate will be going down in the city. We're going to get Dr. Escott's numbers tomorrow. And we'll get that infusion of data, probably put that on the website or on social media so that you can start seeing that information. You can see the number of hospitalizations. Basically, the model is predicting it to be flat. The number of ICU patients, model predicting it to be flat. Everybody did an incredibly good job. Did not let us go over this 200 line, which was the number that we identified back in spring of 2020. Was a number that we didn't want to cross, and we set our triggers to make sure that we wouldn't do that, and we were successful in making that happen. Hey, vaccines. As of today, Austin Public Health has opened vaccine appointments to anyone that's over 18 years of age, so you can sign up and get your vaccine. There are a lot of different places in the city that are giving vaccines now, and in the county that are giving vaccines now. We really are trying to focus Austin Public Health and Travis County and community care on how do we reach the populations that are hardest to reach, the people that are not on their computer, maybe not on their phone, are not reaching out, are not really aware of what it is that's happening in the community with respect to vaccines. How do we find and get to those people? Trying to use church groups and faith groups and other organizations that might have a better handle on where those people are. At this point, 41% of Travis County residents over the age of 16 have received at least one dose of the vaccine. 41%. That number jumps to 68%. Among residents who are over 65. Almost 70% of all residents over 65 have gotten at least one vaccine. To make a vaccine appointment, look for availability on Monday evenings on Austin Public Health or get a vaccine at one of the other providers. At the City Council meeting last Thursday, did some great things with respect to affordable housing, advanced 3 projects that are going to use the downtown density bonus in order to increase affordable housing options. We took $2.4 million and put it toward helping iconic Austin venues recover from the difficulties of the COVID-19 virus pandemic here. We're continuing to move forward on the post-disaster review and what we need to be doing differently. At the last council meeting last week, we pointed in the direction of creating resiliency hubs all over the city that have power and water stations. So if we ever involved in the situation we were just in, we're better prepared for it. We took $122,000 from the Justice Department to use on DNA testing in cases where DNA evidence might exonerate someone. The City Council meets again, not this week, but next week on April 22nd. I want you to know that Got a Minute is going to be stopping this week. We're going to do it tonight. We're going to do it Wednesday night, and Wednesday will be the last time that we do Got a Minute. We launched Got a Minute last April with the purpose of giving COVID updates during the pandemic. People were looking to local leaders or state leaders to give them information and data so that they could follow what was happening and adjust their behaviors. It certainly ruled my life, my family's life over the last year, knowing that we were going to be in front of this computer at the same time almost every evening. But fascinating evenings. We started the first half year looking at pictures that photographs people were sending to us from around the city. And I loved when we were doing that. Real early in the process, I don't know if you remember, we made some homemade masks out of T-shirts, 3 different styles. This was way back when. Those times seem like a long time ago. I want to thank all our health authorities and community members who gave us the COVID insight and data that we used almost every night for the past year to make sure that we were getting accurate information and data to the community, so we could make decisions about what was appropriate. Now that the vaccine supply is increasing and the COVID mortality rate is going down, hospitalization rate is decreasing. The virus is still with us. We still need to keep up what we're doing, but we just don't have the new updates every night to have people coming by to check out, because this night's news looks a lot like last night's news. If we go off the handle here, like Michigan, we may pick this back up again. But for right now, we don't need to. So Wednesday, going to be the last Got a Minute, I think. Thank you to everybody who has followed along and used these updates to make smart, safe, compassionate choices for you and your family and your community. I want to thank the several hundred people that averaged watch this on any given evening, but the multiple thousands of people that watch the rebroadcasts at different times during the day. What we are going to do now, though, is we're going to transition from Got a Minute to a weekly issues-based podcast. The purpose is to reach a greater number of Austinites and educate and have a discussion on different social issues, different things relevant to the city council or to the city generally. If you have any questions or topics or things that you want to be discussed on that podcast, probably won't be just me on it. Please send me an email to steve.adler@austintexas.gov. That's steve.adler@austintexas.gov. And let us know what it is that you'd like to see discussed. Maybe with more than one of us doing this, we'll be able to monitor the comment section and answer some questions more timely. But there's my email address, steve.adler@austintexas.gov. And the first episode of this new podcast will come out next week. So with that, and looking forward to Wednesday's last Got a Minute, you all take care and be safe. Good night.